Welcome back. Let's bring you this story now. It's the ANC versus the ANC. Veterans are accusing certain party members of trying to divert attention from corruption. In an open letter to the ANC leadership, the group says accusations leveled at fellow members create the perception that the party remains divided. They say members like Derek Hanekom and Pravin Gordhan have been singled out because of their unrelenting resistance to corruption and state capture. Well, for more on this, we're joined by one of the party veterans, Mr. Mavusum Simang, who joins us this morning. Thank you, sir, for waking up to talk to us
Good morning. Thanks for the invitation.
It's a very important matter. The ANC, NEC, they're currently meeting. We understand this is the last day. But importantly, your statement issued at the weekend focuses much of its attention on the actions of the Secretary General, Ace Magashule, and your misgivings about his role really speak for itself. The question I want to ask of you is he fit to be Secretary General of the ANC?
I would rather first, if you will allow me to state what the intention of the veterans was in publishing that letter. It was to try and persuade the leadership of the African National Congress to act to avert the escalation of a crisis that has seen them tear at each other in public. We're trying to urge them to take these matters internally, to follow due process where there are issues, and to act with impartiality. We've seen an attack on Derek Hanekom. We saw an attack really on Pravin Gordhan as well. What we think is really a lot more important, we think it is more important, is that they deal with issues, for instance, where the Secretary General Ace Magashule is accused, untested, of having participated in the formation of a party in the run-up to the elections. We are wanting that investigated because it's very important. We also would like the organization to look at what Jacob Zuma, former president, is doing, going to the Zondo Commission and really speaking so ill of his colleagues. We also have seen him joining the Black Fest, Land Fest, and saying that people must vote for it. Can anything be more serious and more undermining to the party than that, other than talking to EFF and agreeing on a strategy to deal with the removal of Jacob Zuma?
Your statement is very clear that all these that are being raised by these questionable characters, if you will, are all part of an effort to divert attention from state capture. But I still want to go back to the first question. Is Secretary General Ace Magashule worthy of that position?
I think if he was taken through a serious discussion internally and asked to explain so many of these things that are being said against him, that he's being associated with, if the ANC would have the courage to find out exactly what his role was as an organization, forget whatever is happening in the criminal justice system, to find out what he meant shortly after Nasrec, when he said to people, wait for 5 years and then you'll get the thing, to explain whether in fact he has had a role in the formation of the ATM, whatever it is called. Yeah. If that were if that were confronted, those issues were confronted, would then be able to determine whether he's fit or not.
Successfully avoiding my question there, Mr. Msimang. Let's move on to Derek Hanekom. Your statement largely appears to exonerate him. He's admitted to having met with the EFF leadership. However, if you listen to members like Kebi Mapatwe, for example, the president of the MKMVA, he appears to say Derek Hanekom, in his role as chair of the ANC disciplinary committee, he has been responsible for expelling a number of ANC councillors for voting with the opposition in order to get rid of ANC mayors. Is Mapatwe justified, not justified rather, in pointing out what clearly appears to him as a double standard?
It's really very unfortunate when people draw a red herring. Fact of the matter is that after the Constitutional Court adjudged President Zuma to have failed to uphold, to respect, and to defend the Constitution, it said, in so many words, that he had failed to discharge his responsibilities. All that remained was for Parliament to implement the spirit of this judgment. That's really what was needed to be done. Unfortunately, the ANC Parliament, the Parliament, with the ANC being the major rogues, failed to execute this thing. So the excuse was that the motion had been moved by the opposition and they wouldn't vote with the opposition. This is complete nonsense. If the opposition tells you that it's Monday today, you can't disagree with them because they are the opposition. However, so Derek Hanekom eventually, at a later motion that had been moved, I think again by the DA, makes it quite clear to everybody. He challenged Jacob Zuma and asked him to resign at the NEC, at an NEC meeting. He asked him to do that. He paid a price for that by being removed. Many people wanted Jacob Zuma to resign his presidency. If that had been done 2 years earlier, we would have been spared a lot of this nonsense that happened. So I don't see anything at all in what's his name, Derek Hanekom, talking to the EFF when he had declared that he was going to vote again. We don't know how he voted in the end. Here are people united in action to remove a president who was unpopular, which the ANC later removed anyway.
Mr. Msimang, as we wrap up our conversation, it would appear that contentious policy matters such as land expropriation and the nationalization of the Reserve Bank, these are ANC resolutions stemming from the Nasrec conference.
Sure.
It looks like these are going to be used as some kind of weapon against the leadership of Cyril Ramaphosa, particularly going into the NGC. That appears to be the next battle. What's your assessment of how the president is doing in trying to stamp his authority? Reports this weekend appear to suggest that he's had enough. He's now speaking out against his...
Would be very happy if the president started putting his foot down. He needs, by the way, the support of all good ANC people in the NEC, in the NEC National Working Committee, and all the structures to support him, because he is seeking to wipe out, to reduce, to manage the corruption that was associated with his predecessor. It's important that he is supported. Of course, it's important that he also takes the lead and prick this bubble, because it's just a bubble. Once it bites at it, it's going to go. They are really strategic, using all sorts of media. There's nothing but empty noise.
Mr. Msimang, thank you very much for giving us your time. Mavuso Msimanga is a veteran leader of the ANC.